Tensions escalate between Azerbaijan and Armenia as both sides accuse each other of violating a fragile ceasefire. Hello, I'm Anand Naidu, and this is The Heat. The latest flare-up of violence centers around the disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh. The deadly conflict is putting civilians in danger and threatening the stability of the region. Russia, France and the United States have all condemned the fighting, calling for a truce. Meanwhile, Turkey has been vocal in its support for Azerbaijan, saying Istanbul stands with Baku both in talks and in combat. For more on the conflict in the Caucasus region, let's bring in our panel. Joining us from Baku in Azerbaijan, Nigar Arpaderay is a member of Azerbaijan's parliament. With us here in Washington, Arsen Kharatyan is a former advisor to the Armenian Prime Minister and editor-in-chief of Alik Media. Hakan Jamuz is head of international law with the law firm Stoke White. He joins us from London. And in Moscow, Dmitry Babich is a political analyst at Inos.me, a Russian website. Welcome to all of you to the show. Nigar, let me start with you. This is a conflict that's been going on for a very long time. In fact, it started in the late 80s when the Soviet Union was dissolved. And we should point out that both Azerbaijan and Armenia were part of the Soviet Union. What sparked off this latest conflict?
Well, thank you for your question. Basically, what happened is that current escalation of Armenian-Azerbaijani conflict is a result of a series of unprovoked attacks by Armenian forces on Azerbaijani civilian and military targets. The core of the problem is that Azerbaijan's territory, 20% of our territories, is under occupation for 26 years now. You may know that we have around 1 million refugees and IDPs who have been expelled from their homes. And there were a negotiation process that was going on for 26 years, and Armenian occupation is very well documented. There are UN Security Council resolutions, numerous other international documents like OSCE, Council of Europe, UN, EU. They all confirm that this is the fact of occupation. UN Security Council resolutions demand unconditional withdrawal of Armenian troops from the territories, but they are being ignored for 26 years. Well, this aside, we had 26 years of negotiations, but when Prime Minister Pashinyan came to power, he started provoking us by, for example, saying that Karabakh is Armenia. He started illegal settlement to the occupied territories, while the international community, Armenia was misusing with the explosion in Beirut and started settling Lebanese people, Lebanese with Armenian origin, to the territories. Well, Armenia basically destroyed most of our historical monuments, religious monuments. Yeah. So all kinds of provocations all these years. And last one happened in July when they started attacking Tovuz region, which is very close to our oil and gas infrastructure. And on 27th of September, another provocation. And this is the military escalation that's happening now.
All right, let me go to Arsen Kharatyan. Arsen, you are Armenian. Nagorno-Karabakh is internationally recognized as being a part of Azerbaijan. How do Armenians see this conflict? What does Armenia hope to achieve?
Well, thank you for having me in the show. I don't even know where to start. There's so much lies that are being out there already spoken. It's been widely recognized that this military escalation, the war, a terrorist war, has been started by Azerbaijan on September 27th, just about 1 hour ago. U.S. State Secretary Pompeo has announced that he hopes that Armenians can handle this Azerbaijani attack. Every single country involved in this conflict has no doubt who has started this war, so I'm not going to go into the details. When we talk about occupation, we all know, we've been talking about this for a long time, when the Soviet Union was collapsing, Azerbaijan, which announced its independence, became an independent state. Meanwhile, Karabakh, Nagorno-Karabakh, went for its own independence based on the Soviet constitution. This is very well known. This is, of course, the Azerbaijani colleagues are going to present from a very different angle. Well, the UN security resolutions, this has been speculated articulated and used by Azerbaijan for so many years. 4 resolutions all adopted in 1993 in a very different context, where Armenian local forces are recognized, everybody knows this, and Armenia on its end has implemented those resolutions. It's the Azerbaijan that has not implemented it, that's why we're in the ongoing war. And those resolutions, by the way, is not a pardon or an allowance for Azerbaijan to attack massively civilian population. We have Azerbaijani shelling with munitions prohibited under international law, targeting hospitals, targeting civilian areas. We have over 30 civilian deaths, over 100 people injured because of this attack. With the shelling of Azerbaijanis. And talking about cultural and religious monuments, 3 days ago Azerbaijanis attacked an Armenian church of 19th century in the city of Shushi. I just put out a poster where we have been actually fixing Azerbaijani Iranian or Muslim monuments in Karabakh.
Okay.
I'll finish it right now. I'll finish it right now.
Yeah.
What I am standing here is Azerbaijani deadly attack against Armenian civilians, both in Karabakh and Armenia proper, and that is a fact which is beyond any doubt at the moment.
Okay, Nagar, can we have a very quick response from you?
Well, it's really such an absurd statement. Would you deny that Nagorno-Karabakh and 7 adjacent regions are internationally recognized territories of Azerbaijan? Second, would you deny that Nagorno-Karabakh, okay, it's a part of Azerbaijan, I said. Would you deny that UN Security Council resolutions demand unconditional full withdrawal of Armenian troops from the occupied territories of Azerbaijan? I will not go into any speculation. I am speaking international law now. International law says that this is the part of Azerbaijan. So what are Armenian soldiers doing right now on our territory?
Nagar, I want to
please reply my question?
Okay, wait, hang on a moment. Austin, I want to get some other opinions on this conflict.
I can just have a quick response.
I will get back to you. I will get back to you. Hakan Jamuz, of course, Turkey is embroiled in this conflict as well. Turkey is on the side of Azerbaijan. What is Turkey hoping to achieve here, and why is it involved in the conflict?
Turkey's involvement is very simple and straightforward. Azerbaijan and Turkey is always seen as a country that has a emotional, historical, and a bloodline connections. There's the two countries united as one. They will never kind of let each other down, if you like. It's been an historical understanding. We grew up knowing Azerbaijan is us and we are Azerbaijan. It's never changed. For us, Turks, it's always been the case. So Turkey will naturally be on the side of Azerbaijan in this conflict, not only because of this bond, but at the same time, Azerbaijan, legally speaking, is in the right side of the law. They are the country that actually fighting the illegal occupation of their land. It is recognized, as my colleague said, by the world that their status in Nagorno-Karabakh is illegal, when what Armenia is doing is illegal. It's a European Parliament's recognition, United Nations recognition, OICE's recognition, Organization of Countries recognition. You cannot ignore the world.
Right, Hakan, isn't there
proven to be part of Azerbaijan?
Right, Hakan, isn't there a risk right now that the entire region could be destabilized by this conflict?
Of course it is, and that's why the sides always needs to sit down and talk, which is what I believe for the last 26 years. The fact that there has been no solution to it is really a failure in and of itself.
Yeah.
And there must be a moment created for the parties to sit down and talk about this, because there is no other way of resolving this issue. There has to be negotiations.
Yeah.
And the legal rights of Azerbaijan needs to be recognized.
Okay, Dmitry, Russia brokered a ceasefire in this conflict, but that ceasefire broke down very quickly. What kind of stake does Russia have in this conflict? And does Russia have any kind of leverage with either side?
Well, the stake that we have is very simple. You know, we have Armenian and Azerbaijani communities in Russia, both of them with millions of members, and we feel the pain, you know, when people are killed there, Armenians and Azerbaijanis, we suffer because these were our citizens. We grew up with them, we watched the same television, we went to the same schools. And, you know, I think that in this situation, it's impossible to say which side was more aggrieved. I think both sides have their grievances. I mean, even the story, I mean, Arsene rightly said that Azerbaijan became independent in 1991. That's true. But the Karabakh tragedy started in 1987, when the Armenian population of the autonomous region of Nagorno-Karabakh asked or demanded from the Soviet parliament to join Armenia. And then the tragedy started because Gorbachev did not take decisive measures to stop the violence and to stop, the anarchy that ensued. I think the best solution would be a kind of exchange, territory in exchange for security. Nigar rightly said that not only Nagorno-Karabakh is now controlled by Armenians, but also 7 regions around it, which had Azerbaijani population before the war ended in 1994, the last war, I mean. This is no man's land, there are almost no people living there.
Yeah.
So what is needed is to find an honest broker who would be able to help the two sides find this solution, territory in exchange for security. I understand the emotions, but this is the only way forward, because this conflict is not religious. We should absolutely deny it, because, Turkey is on one side, Iran is on the other side, even though Iran is also a Muslim country.
Yeah.
So we should keep religion away from it. This is just a tragedy for everyone. We should try to end it as soon as possible.
Right.
You asked me about the Russian stake in all of this.
Yeah.
Well, I can just quickly tell you. The Western media keeps blaming Russia for everything that happens in the former Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Just recently, the New York Times, wrote a very strange article about Syrian mercenaries coming to fight on the side of Azerbaijan. If it's true, then the New York Times should explain to us how come these people who helped Turkey topple Mr. Assad, how come now the United States is against sending them to the zone of conflict?
Okay,
These
Dmitry.
were freedom fighters, if we believe the Western media. So the worst side in this war is the Western media, if you want my opinion.
Nigar,
can I just reply?
Yeah, go ahead.
I need to address some of the questions that was posed by Nigar, and I think there is too much, but whatever. Anand, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Arsen, I just want to go to Nigar. She wants to say something, and I'll come straight over to you. Okay, go ahead, Nigar.
Thank you very much, Anand. Well, actually, what my colleague from Russia said, territory in exchange of security, this is absolutely not okay for us. We will never accept that. Our president has made it clear. But our plan, you will ask, what is Azerbaijan's plan? Azerbaijan's aim is to restore its territorial integrity, to rebuild all those areas, because Nagorno-Karabakh and especially all 7 adjacent regions, they turned into ghost cities. There are no infrastructure, no houses, basically nothing there. Azerbaijan is planning to rebuild it all, and we want to have peaceful coexistence of Azerbaijani and Armenian communities there. We have no problem with Armenians. We will create all necessary security and prosperity measures for them. They will have all the guarantees from us. This is the official statement of our president, so there is no problem. What we want to do, we want to clean our lands from the occupying forces, from these criminal people who came there.
All right,
and then we will rebuild it all.
Right, let me go to Arsen. Arsen, go ahead.
So I'm surprised. First of all, how do you imagine anybody trusting your president when you're coming into our villages just 2 days ago, killing a disabled kid with a mother, cutting ears, continuously violating international law, continuously using ammunitions, bombs that are basically making our kids blind? Talking about the legal aspect, Nagorno-Karabakh has never been part of independent Azerbaijan. This is a fact. Would you deny that? I don't think you have any base to deny that. Number 2, excuse me, when you were not talking, I was not disturbing you. To our colleagues from Russia, New York Times, your own foreign ministry has been talking about mercenaries being transported to Azerbaijan. The French president has been talking about having intelligence about 300 jihadists being transported through Turkey to Azerbaijan, fighting there. There is no denial that some of these might be infiltrating to Chechnya and today in Volgograd. We're seeing very clear and direct link with jihadists, mercenaries being brought to Syria, to Azerbaijan to fight against Armenians who are infiltrating now possibly the territory of Russia. So this is going beyond our local war. This is going beyond our region. This is a world issue, and it's going to become a further world issue. So to talk just about the New York Times article is to deny facts that are actually produced by intelligence.
I want to go back to Hakan Jamuz. Nagar, one moment, I'll get to you, Nagar. I want to go to Hakan Jamuz. Hakan, what can you tell us about these reports that Turkish-backed militias have been using mercenaries from the Middle East, from Syria, on the side of Azerbaijan?
In any war situation, as you know, Anand, that there are a lot of allegations, a lot of claims. Just like the claims are made by your guests, and we don't know the facts about it. We will obviously probably investigate these. There will be plenty of investigations of these claims, and it has to be verified. There has to be evidences of it. They've claimed Turkish F-16s was operating out of Azerbaijan, which was proven to be completely false. A lot of allegations, a lot of false claims that actually happens in these kind of situations. People get emotional. We understand it's a conflict. We hope that is to be resolved in one way or another through peaceful means. However, the claims that paid mercenaries are operating in Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, there's a claim that Armenia is using members of the PKK terrorist organizations in the conflict. Shall we just try to actually verify whether that's correct? We don't know. There's a fact that the conflict is ongoing, and Armenia is using Russian mercenaries. Wagner is part of the Armenia's operation in Nagorno-Karabakh. So there's plenty of claims. So there's always a claim about one side or another. That's the new future.
Please show me a single report that talks about
Dimitri,
PKK or any other mercenaries
let me go to Dimitri.
side.
Dimitri, as we have heard, this conflict could escalate. It could destabilize the region. How concerned is Russia that if this does escalate, if the region is destabilized, that it may itself be drawn into this war?
Well, of course, everyone is very concerned because there are people dying, and both sides have very destructive weapons. I'm sure that both Armenia and Azerbaijan have not used the full potential of their weapons because if they did, losses would be terrible, much higher than now. So what Russia is trying to do is to speak to both parties, bring them together. Our government is absolutely neutral, unlike the Turkish one, which said that, immediately that it supported Azerbaijan. Even though we have strong Azerbaijani and Armenian communities here in Russia, you will not find a single word in the official statements from Moscow that would favor one of the sides of the conflict. Both countries are our friends, our allies. Both are linked to Russia. If something happens, a lot of refugees will go to Russia. So what we are trying to do is to end this conflict as soon as possible, not to allow it to escalate as the Syrian conflict escalated. And of course, in this situation, the involvement of the West would be counterproductive because we saw how the Western powers supported all kinds of foreign fighters in Syria when they fought against President Assad. We don't want the same story to repeat itself in Armenia and Azerbaijan.
Yeah, Nagar, if we looked at how this war is being fought right now, it's being fought very close to Azeri oil pipelines, to gas pipelines as well, and these are pipelines that go to international markets. The Azeri president has been talking about this, and he had this warning for Armenia. Let's listen to what he had to say.
If Armenia tries to put their ugly plans to make the gas pipeline out of order into practice, the response will be very severe for them.
So that's quite a severe warning there from the Azeri president, Nagar, talking about a very severe response. What does he mean by that?
Well, first of all, if you allow me, Hanan, I will reply to the question regarding mercenaries, because both of the colleagues have said that.
Yeah.
Well, basically, there is not a single proof that Azerbaijan is using mercenaries. We don't have to use, we don't need actually to use any mercenaries because our army is much, much, much bigger than Armenian army in this situation. And our president has clearly said that if anyone has any proof, can you please show it to us? And no one ever, even the French people, the French leadership, who has said that, they didn't come up with the proof. Now, moreover, the leader of occupying forces, Harutyunyan, have just a few days ago have come up with a law, has adopted a law which officially allows mercenaries to join occupying forces. They have been doing that anyway because Radio France International have confirmed that Libyan and Syrian mercenaries have coming to the army to fight for Armenian side. But now it's already a law. You can check your information. You can check facts.
Okay.
Now, regarding the geography of of the conflict and regarding, let's say, the plans and the risk, the overall risk for the region, I would say that it's not even a concern, but it's the plan of Armenia. This is exactly what Armenia is trying to achieve. Armenia is trying to expand the geography of the conflict. That's why Armenia is doing all its best to involve Russia, international organizations, all the neighbors.
All right, Nagar.
Because this is exactly. Now, oil and gas. I'm coming to the point. Well, yes, you've seen what our president said, because these are we have international infrastructure, including oil and gas pipelines, international railways, and all it started in July when they attacked Tovuz. It was especially that area where we have that infrastructure. So yes, that's a big risk. Thanks God that we have a proper army who can, at the moment, protect us. But that's a risk, and that is what Armenia is trying to cause.
Let me hear what the other side has to say. Arsen, the Armenian Prime Minister has responded to that threat that we heard from the Azeri president, and this is what the Armenian Prime Minister had to say. Let's listen.
At this crucial moment, we will not back down because this is a crucial war for our people. In this situation, the Armenian people have only one thing to do: unite, mobilize all the potential we have, halt the enemy with a decisive blow, and achieve a final victory.
So, Arsen, when the Armenian Prime Minister there talks about a decisive blow and achieving a final victory, I mean, what does that victory look like for Armenia? What is Armenia's ultimate goal?
Armenia's ultimate goal is to defend itself from another repeated genocide that is being implemented by Turkey with Azerbaijan currently, where they're using, again, continuously attacking with cluster munitions. Amnesty International has proved that. Now, with regards to talking about mercenaries, I'm actually very surprised. Okay, we'll get to that. The Turkish colleague actually has very little to talk about, because what they've been doing, they're the only country in the world that supports this war and backs Azerbaijan.
You're just angry.
Every single... Okay, let me finish.
One moment, Hakan, I'll get to you.
Can I finish?
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
If we're talking about proofs, on October 10th, when Russia brokered or tried to broker the ceasefire regime, why did Azerbaijan attack hours after that? It was talking about humanitarian ceasefire when we were going to exchange prisoners and we were going to exchange bodies of the dead. Azerbaijan not only did not go ahead with that, it attacked Armenia proper right afterwards. In fact, if you go back and see, while the negotiations, almost 10 hours of negotiations were happening between Armenian and Azerbaijani foreign ministers, Aliyev was coming up with a statement to his own nation talking about how further he's going to go and how much he doesn't going to respect this. So if we're talking about anybody being interested in this war to be over, it is only Turkey and Azerbaijan that is standing for the war. The rest of the world has unequivocally clearly stated that this war has to be stopped in order so that we can go back to any kind of negotiations. So what Armenia's goal is to survive another genocide yet being implemented by Turkey and Azerbaijan in this.
Okay, Hakan, go ahead.
Yeah, he's just dealing with the semantics. He's not really talking about the facts. And I tell you, I don't want to be disrespectful to you, but you're just talking about things that have no basis, and you're just trying to have an argument. If you want the war to stop, and we all do, all you have to do is stop illegal occupation of Nagorno-Karabakh and stop the illegal and killing of innocent civilians in Azerbaijan, shelling them. And there's a lot of evidence out there. So the point is,
just today, Azerbaijan has released a video of Armenian prisoners being shot.
Add something to this. Turkey has no benefit in being part of this conflict. And you keep saying that somehow this is Turkey's conflict. It's not. Turkey's trying to help a brother. That's all that is happening, because they actually feel that your illegal occupation of the land and the attacks on the civilians and in Azerbaijani land, illegally recognized land, it is just not unacceptable. The only way to deal with it is sit down and talk properly, legally, so you can actually find a solution. Azerbaijan has offered several times, offered citizenship, offered settlement to the whole nation, the whole entire region. You should simply negotiate it and resolve the issue. That's all there is to it. There's no need to be angry about this.
Okay, Dimitri, as you pointed out, both these countries, Armenia and Azerbaijan, are allies of Moscow. So Moscow does have some kind of leverage here. Why doesn't it bring that leverage into use? Why doesn't it bring it to bear? And could Russia perhaps be the honest broker here, even to the point of sending in peacekeeping troops?
Peacekeeping troops is a difficult matter. I hope it won't come to this stage, because these are friends of ours on both sides. But you have just heard how difficult it is to bring these people together, to find a solution. I think the solution is always to have direct negotiations between leaders. The wise and great Haydar Aliyev, the previous president of Azerbaijan, he met with Kocharyan, the leader of Armenia, in Key West, in the United States. Unfortunately, they were not able, Aliyev was not able to bring this conflict fully to the end. He died, but he understood very well that the only thing that can destroy both countries, that can destroy the dreams, if you want, of Azerbaijani elite and Armenian elite, is another war in Karabakh. So he tried, he did his best to end the conflict before he died. So I think if President Putin, President Erdogan, President Aliyev, Prime Minister Pashinyan, or maybe through some kind of intermediaries, we just need to have a meeting and find a way out.
Yeah.
Please see, we had a conflict with Turkey in 2015, a really bad one, over Syria. But Putin and Erdogan, who are now demonized by the Western media, found a solution. So there is now peace between us. So the only way forward, I think, is to exclude the West, because the West, in its current incarnation, is only able to sow instability like it did in Libya, like it did in Syria, like it did in Iraq.
Okay, Dimitri.
We, the four countries, should meet and decide and resolve this problem, because it's in all of our interests.
Okay, I have 2 minutes left. I want to give a minute.
Can I just agree with Dimitri's? Can I just agree with Dimitri's point about, which is exactly what I was saying? Trying to pursue no solution by Armenia is not a solution. Solution is to negotiate and talk.
I've got 2 minutes left. I want to give a minute to Nagar and a minute to Arsen. Nagar, your minute is about these negotiations. Armenia has offered negotiations, but Azerbaijan says it will enter into negotiations, but has imposed some preconditions, including the withdrawal of Armenian troops, as well as an apology from Armenia. Should Azerbaijan actually go into negotiations without any kind of preconditions?
Well, we have been in negotiations for 26 years, and we are ready to return to negotiations at any minute, basically. And the framework for them is very simple. The framework should be clear commitment and timetable from Armenian side for withdrawal of occupational forces from the occupied land and international law. We want negotiations to be aligned fully, of course, based on international law and UN Charter. Now, well, that's basically it, what we want.
Okay, Arsen, you have the final minute. Go ahead.
So the only way we can go, Armenia has been committed to the negotiations, and the only way we can go back to negotiations is if when this war stops. So this ceasefire, which is being violated continuously by Azerbaijan with Turkey, it needs to be finished in order so that we can get back to negotiations. With regards to the four-party, the OSCE Minsk group is the only format that we will have to continue the negotiations. Turkey, being a very clearly biased side, cannot be part of this formally. This needs to be very clearly understood. And yes, OSCE Minsk group, that is Russia, France, and the United States, have to be the format within which we have to continue.
Yeah, we have run out of time. Thank you to all of you for being with us on this issue. And that's it for this edition of The Heat. I'm Arnold Naidu in Washington, D.C. Thanks for watching.